Thank you for watching GNN. We appreciate you taking the time to do this instead of seeing another rerun of America's funniest home videos. On this week's episode, we have Wilden, who's going to make it rain by teaching us what's in the new Xbox Cloud gaming service. Then we have Richard, who brings us a lot more speculation and leak coverage for Rainbow Six Siege. Finally, we have Project Supervillain bringing it home with another look at the controversy Sony has faced within the last number of days. I hope the PS3 survives this one. Now let's get a big old button mash going to bring in our host, Sarah Jewell.
Don't even think about using auto fire, or I'll know.
Hello to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to Gaming Nest News, where we bring you the games, the game info, the game summaries, the game speculation. We got it all. My name is Sarah Jewell, and this week we'll be covering the latest and greatest update gaming news. I'm very excited to hear at least one of these. Let's jump right into it with our updates. We have one of our regular collaborators here, Wilden, who will be opening up the show this week talking about the Xbox Cloud beta. Wilden, take it away.
Hey y'all, Wilden here, and we're talking Xbox this week. That's right. Xbox has sent out beta codes to certain Ultimate Game Pass members to try their new xCloud streaming service. Your web browser, your phone, your tablet, all those things you can stream your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate games on. And why is this such a big deal? Let's talk more specifically about the iPhone. If you haven't been paying attention, you can't download the Xbox Game Pass app on the iPhone. That's not a thing that you can do because Apple's made it a pain with their rules and stuff, and they would have had to, you can only do one game at a time, and you have to get reviewed and all this stuff, and to make it all this rigmarole you have to do to get it on there. So only Android people have been able to get the app, as well as maybe other non-Apple companies could get it on their tablets and their phones and things. But now, Xbox kind of made a workaround that. Now with this xCloud service, you can essentially use the web browser on your iPhone and stream the game from the web browser there that way to finally get that experience that you haven't been able to. This was interesting. As somebody as me who has just Game Pass PC, I won't be able to get into the beta or use the service at the moment. It seems only more to Ultimate members only. But this does entice me that down the road with talks about maybe they're going to do something where you have a device for your TV, or be able to do it on your phone, or maybe the Switch, maybe. With those kind of rumors swirling around, it does give me a sense that maybe one day I might pay it extra, it's like $5 or so, to get Ultimate and actually upgrade, and I might even be able to get access to more games I normally couldn't because I don't have an Xbox console. And I was fine with not having one, because Game Pass PC does give me enough games. Doesn't give you as big of a library as console does, but gives me enough. And so with all these things happening, if the beta goes well, if the streaming does really well, it's gonna be more incentive for people like me who only have the PC to go, you know what, I'll pay the extra couple dollars to get access to more of these games and be able to play on my TV. I can play games I play on my PC on the TV and things of that sort. If this does really well, Sony's gonna have to step up here, because PS Now, I like PS Now, it's great, but the streaming sometimes, depending on the game, it can get a little wonky. So it's gonna be curious to see what the heck's gonna happen down the road, how people are gonna react to this beta. We're gonna have to keep an eye on socials and see how it works. But we're finally getting there. We've been talking about this xCloud thing for a while. Let's see what happens.
Thank you, Wilden, for that update. Appreciate you covering that for us. I feel like people are pretty commonly either Team Xbox or Team PS4, PlayStation, very hardcore. I have yet to give Xbox a try. I would love to secure one of those new gaming systems and hopefully test out this whole software. I mean, to have a cloud and a new gaming system, can't go wrong, right? Well, next we head up to Richard, who is covering the Rainbow Six Siege updates and giving us a little speculation too. Richard, I'll throw it over to you.
Yo, hold up. Back up for a sec. Back up. We get in this corner. Watch for C4. They're probably about to try it.
Concussion ready.
Hey there, hope you guys are having a good day. This is Richard, and I'm letting you know that Rainbow Six Siege is getting yet another mid-season update. There's also been a little bit of a leak, and I'm going to deliver this news and offer some of my thoughts on where this new operator and season could go. So, let's get started. Okay, so first up on operator changes, we have Ace. Ace is getting his smoke grenades replaced with a claymore, and his Selma charges will destroy Black Mirror windows. Ace is quite possibly the best hard breach operator in the game. He has a very, very safe breaching option and an excellent gun in the AK-12. Since he did have smokes, Ace turned more or less into a do-it-all kind of operator, able to open up the wall, get a pick or two, and plant smoothly. I can see reasons for the change to claymores, letting him have a solo flank watch, and having him rely more on his teammates, but I can't really imagine anything above casual being changed that much, but I could be wrong. Having to play more with your team is very much important, especially when you're trying to open up a wall or anything, and I totally understand wanting to nerf him just that little bit to make sure that team comp is still on the forefront of people's minds, but I don't think it's really going to have that much of a change unless you are at a lower level. Next up, we have Jackal, whose potential time to kill is getting increased by a little bit, at least one more bullet's worth, which is kind of a big nerf heading his way this season. He's getting his C7E rifle reduced to 25 plus 1 bullets, down from 30 plus 1, and his damage is going down to 42 from 46. This is probably going to have to make him pause and reload more often during roam clear, which makes him more vulnerable more often. It's not a terribly large change, and Jackal doesn't necessarily really need one. As much as the community hates this foot sniffer, he has found a solid place in the Siege community, and this patch just kind of brings him down just a little bit to make other picks slightly more viable, which is something I'm seeing through a lot of this list. In a very similar move for Jackal, Jaeger has also been nerfed. He is getting a reduced 416C magazine capacity to 25 plus 1. It was 30 plus 1, same as Jackal, but instead of reduced damage, he is getting increased weapon recoil vertically. Instead of it being about damage, it's about accuracy, if that wasn't obvious. This change will probably require a bit more pulling the mouse downwards as you fire, but likely not by much. If you're a Jaeger main, this likely won't affect you unless you're at max distance, and even then, in a game that's so heavy on one-shot headshot kills, it's probably going to be kill or be killed at really any distance engagement when you cross each other's path. So if you make the first shot count, you'll never notice a difference. But you're already a Jaeger main, so I really don't have to tell you that anyway. Lord Tachanka gets an incredibly good buff for his Shimika launcher, which sort of needed to happen, seeing as the meta has more or less evolved around and a little without him. He has an increased magazine capacity to 7, it was at 5. His increased fire duration was at 5 seconds, and now it's 7 seconds. The detonation time has been lowered to 0.75 seconds from 1 second. He gets a larger AOE, just slightly though, 0.2 meters, which can be a lot. The projectile distance to start drop was 20 meters instead of 8 meters, meaning they get to travel further before really dropping that much. And the speed that they're going at is from 20 units to 30 units, and that's fast. That's huge. That's an extra half of the speed added to that projectile. In addition, he's also getting a slightly faster equip time for his DP-27 and an unequipped time, so you're able to switch between the DP-27 and the Shimik launcher a little faster. But being able to fire off 7 shots in a row before reloading, and that AoE getting slightly larger and lasting a solid 2 more seconds per shot, while proccing a quarter of a second faster, just means Tachanka is now going to be better equipped to deal with outside or unexpected forces much, much better. And having a slightly faster switch time back to his DP-27, which I already said is a nice bonus when it comes to trying to finish the job. I hope this brings Tachanka up in competitive a little more. He's got an interesting place in the community right now, and I just want to see him get slightly more love. It's great that he turned from a meme into a real operator, and he is on the cusp of being one of the more interesting defense operators in the game, I feel. Hopefully. Lastly, but not leastly, Thermite has been giving smokes instead of his Claymore. They took his Claymore away in a move that is kind of the opposite of Ace's changes. You give an operator that is much more vulnerable to a flank or a run out less ability to deal with that without dying on the hard wall, and that kind of sucks. We'll have to see what this change is really going to bring, but it seems like a smoke plant with Thermi holding the diffuser himself is a little more viable, but I don't see this change being terribly big again in casual. And as one final major change, on the attacker side, all DMRs lose the 1x optics and gain everything in between in order to balance out different engagement distances. Some people might not necessarily like to have a 3x scope when they are going into close quarters. I know how that is because I do play a Rooney with the EBR. But one day, maybe the game will give me the reflex scope that I can toggle between, like in Call of Duty. But until that day, I'm still probably going to be running the 3x because that's what I'm used to. And whether I like it or not, that's what I pick. Now, onto the leaks. And here's where a bunch of my speculation comes in. Operation North Star is on the horizon. Get it? Which is set to be the title of Year 6 Season 2 and should happen shortly after the latest Battle Pass ends if there's not another event or something to take its place momentarily. I've heard word of something called Apocalypse being thrown around. A couple leaks have happened about that. If I get more of a solid lead, I will cover it. During Operation North Star, we're getting our favela rework. Finally, it's a map that really sorely needs it. Favela has been a thorn in the side of the competitive and casual player alike, with its heavy usage of soft outside walls and never enough reinforcements to cover every one of them. It's a shit show, to put it in layman's terms. The operators and strats that we have available to us simply were not a thought in Ubisoft's mind during the development of this game and this map, and it is high time for a change-up. Ideally, the number of soft outside walls is going to be reduced, and maybe to counter that, maybe a balcony is placed outside the wall of the third floor site to allow ops like Thatcher a little more use against hard breach denial. And I would even go so far as to say, if you extend a lot of the rooms laterally inside, giving a lot more space to maneuver around in the house kind of sections, that'll also take away some precious attacker movement area outside windows and a lot of those spaces. But really, any of these changes is really welcome so long as we see a little more than we got on Border. Fortunately, Border wasn't so broken that it needed a massive overhaul, but hopefully the dev team has enough good sense to nuke Favela into the ground before trying to rebuild at all. And as for our next operator, we've gotten bits and pieces of information from Ubisoft and leaks that the newest operator may be named Thunderbird. And they come from the Nakota tribe in Western Canada, somewhere around Manitoba, Saskatchewan, or Alberta. And considering the last 3 defense operators that were added, we had a roamer and 2 more area denial and utility wasting ops rather than an actual trap op, we are likely more to see another real trap operator. We haven't really seen one since Goyo, and if you don't really count him, Alibi. The trap meta is strong based on the operators that it has in there being strong, and it goes incredibly hard when you have a team full of trap operators, so I would like to see something that can shake this up in an interesting way. I myself don't really know a lot about the tribe, so I'm not going to guess something culturally as a gadget, but I'd like to see something more like Frost's bear traps that immobilize or knock out an opponent for a long and or a short time. I think that'd be a really fun addition. The Ace compilations, where everyone on attack falls into these traps, would flood YouTube and thoroughly mess up the Siege algorithm forever. And that is this week's quick Siege update. I will see you next time.
Thanks for the update, Richard. Keeping us real tuned in on this saga as it continues. We appreciate you. And that was a pretty quality segment. And, you know, speaking of quality segments, here we want to highlight our community. We want to see what all of y'all can do. It's exciting to be able to see the creativeness that our community brings forward, and we would love to highlight you. You can send in your clips, your segments, videos to info@nesthq.online. Again, that's info@nesthq.online. And with that, we will go to our featured player of the week. It's always truly a treat to see what you all submit. You know, I wish I had some of the creative skills you guys had, so please keep it coming. And up next, another creative duo. We've got Project Supervillain, and they're giving us a much anticipated look at this update on the Sony store closing, or not. Take it away, boys.
What's up, everyone? We're your hosts from Project Supervillain. I'm Mark Drifter.
I'm Killboss.
We're back with some more PlayStation news. This week, Sony continues to do some really weird stuff with their stores and a couple other updates from the community. We're going to get into that right away, guys.
None of it's good. Our first bit of news is actually coming in as a report from the community. Namely, a lot of people on PSN profiles have been keeping track of this. But there are a few PS3 games that are no longer able to receive updates for them. So, you know, these are games that, let's say you like bought it on disc, like a physical version of it, and you go to bring it home and you find like there's a game-breaking bug in it. Well, turns out there might not be a patch for that game, unfortunately. This is kind of like the beginning of everything that we have been coming to fear for the last little while when it comes to the dissolution of content and the inability for folks to play it in a complete and stable fashion.
So yeah, we were talking about this stuff last week, so this is kind of an update on that. This is exactly what he's saying. All of our fears just coming into play here. The stores could shut down and everything could just be gone. Now, as he said, like, if you're buying a game for PlayStation now, you're not really safe to do so. Like, you know, there's people that buy consoles, like, later on. I, for one, got my Super Nintendo back in the day, back when the PS2 was about to come out. And you know what? My family wasn't very well off. That's just to say, video games are fun no matter what generation you're playing on. So they should always be available. And taking these stores away, taking the patches away from people is a big detriment for some games. Because think about patches and stuff that go out for game-breaking glitches and stuff like that. If that stuff doesn't get fixed, then the game stays unplayable, and if you don't have that patch, that's what you're stuck with. That's not okay.
Sony, seriously, get your shit together. At least archive the patches, man.
Whoa, okay. Gonna have to pause it right there, guys. We've got some breaking news here coming in from Sony. This comes from Jim Ryan from the PlayStation blog, and while we were doing this story, we've been working on it for the past few days there, and they actually released news that the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita games will no longer be shutting down. The PSP games are still going to be retiring, but this comes, like I said, from the PlayStation blog here, so you guys can check that out right on the screen. This is awesome news, obviously. It's good to see that they're listening to feedback. So obviously the PSP games are still going to retire, but that's not so bad. I mean, it's about time for those ones to start to go at this point. I'm not too surprised to see that. I wouldn't have been surprised if that was the first announcement they made to begin with. But for them to drop all 3 of them at the same time, it was just too much for the fan base. And you can see that they were clearly not happy about it, and their thoughts were actually listened to. The feedback was actually addressed by Sony, which is some really awesome things. This is a really awesome thing to see, because they've been a little bit lackluster in that regard lately. So because of this update, we won't have to worry about the news that we were going to be covering today, which was the fact that PlayStation 3 patches were not being found, and people were starting to worry that they weren't going to be able to patch their games once the store closed. But with the store not closing, that kind of solves that problem right there. But the unfortunate thing is, who knows how long this is going to be for, and who knows if Sony actually really does care about game preservation or not. They did say in their post there that they're happy that the history gets to continue, but it's just a matter of time, we feel like, and we're not sure when they're going to decide to pull the plug on things, because they could decide to do it next year, the year after, who knows. Our hopes are that they don't do that, but anyways, let's just continue with the news. And you know what, we've got actually some more Sony news here. We're just going to keep moving on with them. This next bit of news comes from a job listing that was found online here. Trying to find someone to run the PlayStation mobile division, I guess, here. And we all know what's the issue with mobile games and what could arise from this. So we're kind of worried.
So, as we all know, mobile is notorious for their aggressive and egregious monetization of almost every product that they release. I am convinced that like at least 99% of mobile games out there are going to contain some form of egregious monetization. There are certain games out there that are worth it, that are little gems, you know, but let's be honest, a lot of these are actually casinos disguised as video games. A lot of them have gambling mechanics in them, random chances, loot boxes, straight up microtransactions to get anything done in the game, you know, a lot of time wasters, you know, that sort of stuff, meters ticking down. Oh, you can buy your way through, though. This is kind of the things that we don't want to see happen to some of Sony's greatest franchises, to have them bastardized on mobile.
Yeah, like we could see some of the best series ever just straight up ruined, because sometimes when you bring these games to mobile, it just does not work out. We've seen Nintendo already dipping their feet in this with Mario Kart and stuff like that. And when the hell have you heard anything about Mario Kart since then on the mobile? Like, it's just a big pile of garbage because it's all monetized crap. It's egregious.
Which one was that?
It's called Mario Kart Tour.
Oh.
That was the one.
Oh, God.
We got the developers from Days Gone trying to make a second game here, and they're being told no because this is what PlayStation's up to right now. You know what I mean? What's going to happen with Days Gone? Are they going to get a sequel, or are they just going to get pushed over to mobile? That would suck.
Who knows?
I'm not a Days Gone fan per se, but I've heard lots of good things about it, so it'd be sad to see any game go through a fate like that.
Mm-hmm. Sony is just obsessed with blockbusters, and like if it's not a blockbuster, like they're just not that interested. But there are still good games out there that are not, you know, making huge impacts like The Last of Us did and things like that. But I mean, come on, man, there's still some good games that you can pick out there. Days Gone is one that I think deserves a sequel. And, you know, that's not to say that all these games are going to suck either. They might actually put out some really good mobile games. You know, we just see how the market operates, and then we're like looking at the rest of it and being like, that might be what happens to Sony games. But that's not to say that it will. Certain games could come out and be just fantastic, hardly any monetization, just be straight up experiences. Maybe they'll release some of their old games officially to be emulated on iPhone or Android.
Just a straight up port? That'd
be
okay.
Exactly. Stuff like that could happen. So maybe that's what they're going to be doing. You know, it's not all doom and gloom, but we just know how the mobile market is, so we're nervous.
Yeah, and you know what? We should all keep our buttholes clenched for this, because I'm not going to unclench it until I see what the product is, honestly. We know what happens with these mobile games. So the last little bit of news here we're just going to touch on is the PS4 design flaw that can actually render your console useless. Wow!
That's a good one, yeah!
Great!
Yeah!
So, apparently your console was built to break later on. They just never thought of this or something. So the CMOS battery death will render your games and software actually completely unplayable. So that's not good, eh?
No, that's not good at
horrible.
all. You could probably jailbreak your PlayStation to make that, you know, not happen, but again, that's a costly process sometimes, and you gotta have somebody who knows how to do it, so that might be a way you avoid that, but otherwise, you will need to reconnect your PlayStation 4 to the PS4 servers if your CMOS battery dies, and if those servers aren't available, what do you do?
Exactly.
What do you fucking do?
No, that's it. And, I guess PlayStation didn't really think of that because we've got all these different problems coming up. PlayStation's been in the news like crazy the past couple weeks, and it's not for good things. So, what's going on?
Yeah, like Sony, come on, man. You guys were doing so good, and now, like...
Yeah, I don't
Do
know.
better.
I don't know what's going on, but you know what? Like, it's not okay. Can you guys stop doing weird things? It's really jarring, honestly.
You need to start making things more convenient for the consumers, and you need to also start keeping these kinds of things in mind when you're developing your systems and your hardware, that, there are people that are going to want to go back and use this hardware to play games that they may have played a long time ago or remembered fondly. Maybe they want to show them to their kids one day when the PlayStation 4 is, completely, obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a good reason to not design your consoles with these sort of kill switches inside of them. And I understand that maybe you were probably thinking about this from the grounds of, trying to prevent piracy and jailbreaking and stuff. But again, it only becomes inconvenient for the consumer. Somebody that's going to jailbreak the PlayStation 4 is going to do that no matter what. Putting in a kill switch like this to ensure that they are still kept in your environment is only inconveniencing the paying customer, and you have to stop doing this with everything. Same with the PS3 patches, the mobile stuff, and the PS4, all that stuff, you need to correct that in the future, because you're going to wind up with a lot of people that do not want to buy your hardware if it's going to come with these kinds of caveats.
Exactly, and here's hoping that next week we're not talking about Sony controversies again.
Something
Honestly.
good, please. Like, can we just have some good news, like in the gaming industry?
We will have to come up with something different, regardless, because I can't handle this. Like,
There's so much negativity.
Doing some weird stuff, but you know what? Like, take a look at Xbox and Nintendo. They're like trying to do collaborations and stuff. There's rumors that Gamepass is going to be on Nintendo, and then you got Sony over here literally fucking a dog.
Pretty much.
But anyways, guys, that's it for the news. We're going to come back next week with some more. But enjoy the rest of the show, and till next time, see ya. See you.
Thank you, Project Supervillain. Always a pleasure. Just the quality and the energy that's always brought to these segments. It makes me laugh every time, and yet just still also so informed. Love it so much. And friends, this is a reminder that we want clips and highlights to show off what our community can do. You can send those videos right on over to info@nesthq.online. Again, that's info@nesthq.online. It could look like one of these clips right here.
Protect the bombs.
Oh, when Wilson.
When is Wilson?
Be advised.
Oh,
bomb
when
location
Wilson.
is
Christian, don't do
compromised.
that one. I'm gonna throw a camera out there. You can do it at the end. Please. Where's the fucking hatch, though? Here it is.
Any hatches in the chat? Any hatches in the
In
chat?
the chat? Yeah. Good question. Good question. I'm gonna respectfully decline to answer that one, though.
10 seconds.
Camera in scuba?
Down to
Did you
5
throw your
seconds.
thing?
Not yet. I have to wait till the round starts to do it.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Now go. That's definitely shot already. Somebody scanned me right when I was throwing it. They're gonna rush scuba. Money. I have money on it. There is one out here. They didn't get it. Incredible. I see you. I'm expecting a scuba rush. I don't know why. Nice.
Scuba.
It's almost like I knew somehow.
Yeah, I got one at scuba. There's another one in there. It's
Okay.
off.
Yeah, Monty.
Really? Yeah. I got you.
Monty's
Just
dead
hold.
with
Last
defuse.
operator.
Alright, last one scuba. Somewhere.
I think she's in the drop area in scuba.
Here?
That's fucking funny. He says AFK.
Fuck you, Monty.
Now that's funny as fuck.
Bro, how did I kill the Monty? He dropped a shield. Like, why would he do that? I have a shotgun.
Yeah,
I don't have to
he knew
aim.
I was he knew I was pushing behind him. That is actually the right move there.
Oh, in the real basement. Thomas, the connector.
Oh.
Underneath.
Okay.
Thanks for the awesome submission. We appreciate it. And, I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. Thank you so much to our contributors, Wilden, Richard, and Project Supervillain. We love having you all here. And remember to follow us on social media. We have the links below in our description as well as on the corners of the screen. Can't really miss them, right? Right here. So give us a like, a follow, maybe even subscribe to get all our latest updates when we're having tournaments and hitting you with that hard and fast news. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all next week. I'm Sarah Jewell. Bye-bye.